If I could describe the Get My Life tour in one word, it would be vulnerability. Showing up for yourself is so important. Welcome to the Get My Life tour. I'm your host, Lydia T. Blanco. Hey, y'all, and welcome to the Get My Life tour. It is me, your host, Lydia T. Blanco, and as always, you know that I am so excited that you decided to show up for yourself and take center stage. There is no place I've here on the Get My Life tour with you, and I'm so grateful that you've decided to take center stage in your life. That is major. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. If you've been showing up time after time, my hat is off to you because you have committed to being who you need. I am thrilled about today's guest. I'm always elated that people are interested in coming on tour. And my mind is often blown because I'm like, you want to be on the Get My Life tour? You want to come on tour with me? Because at one point I was like, okay, you know what? I'm getting my life, emphasis on my, and I just couldn't, I couldn't gather, anyone else's excitement about being on this Get My Life tour because I just thought it was something that I needed to do for myself. And it turned out that so many of us are on our journeys, and it has been a privilege and a blessing, truly a blessing, to sit with women about their how through stories. And today, I have the lovely, the talented, and the gifted Nafisah Carter here on the Get My Life tour. Nafisah, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
You are more than welcome. Nafisah, I'm going to go into your bio, and then we will take the conversation from there because I am so excited to read your bio. I'm like, oh my gosh, how did she do all of this? Okay. Hailed as an international multicultural hairstylist, Nafisah Carter began her career as a celebrity hairstylist at the world-renowned Rita Hassan Salon. That is synonymous and known for slaying the manes of Beyonce, Kim Kardashian, and Jennifer Lopez. Nafisah's ever-evolving celebrity clientele list has included Destiny's Child alumni Michelle Williams, R&B station Tinashe, Erica Mena, and African-American ballet dancer, let me actually say that over, American ballet dancer Misty Copeland, just to name a few. Known for slaying manes all around the world, from Paris, Australia to Dubai, Nafisah has mastered, various textures and is an extension, wig, and natural hair care specialist with over 10 years of experience in her industry. Nafisah, you are phenomenal. Welcome to the show. Again.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You are welcome. What does it feel like to have all of your, not even all of them, right? Because that's just your bio, but what does it feel like to hear those accolades, sounded off?
Yeah. Oh, it feels amazing. I'm like, wow. And I'm sitting here like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I actually did all of that. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So it feels really, really good. And I do feel like I've accomplished a lot of the things that I wanted to accomplish. Not everything, but a lot of them. And it really makes me feel good to hear it.
That is lovely. I've read your bio. I'm sure there's so much more to your story, and I'm excited to learn more about you. So in your own words, who is Nafisah Carter?
I'm, of course, an international celebrity hairstylist. I'm the owner of Nafisah's Beauty Boutique here in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm from Durham, and my business is in Raleigh. I have a hair salon called Piara Hair, and I've worked with many amazing celebrities, like you named, former Destiny's Child, Michelle Williams, Misty Copeland, Tinashe, and that's just to name a few. I specialize in many different hair extensions, like a ton of them. Sew-ins, bead row extensions, keratin bond extensions, just like a whole lot. I love hair extensions, so I specialize in all types of hair extensions. And I'm a mom. I'm a mother of one.
Whose son is in college, and I still don't believe it. Right. And I have to say that I love hair extensions too. I learned how to do my hair maybe around 5, 6. And then I began to do my sisters, everyone in my neighborhoods, and was taking, people's lunch money in exchange for my services. I was like, you want to eat or you want to look good? You got some life choices to make. Clearly, in middle school, the things we have to face, right? But I'm like, wait, what? Yes, I took people's lunch money. I needed to, make it happen. Right. But you are in the hair care industry. You're in beauty. You are an entrepreneur. You are so many things. And I think that is incredible, but I have to ask you, when did you discover your passion for hair care and for beauty?
I know as a child, I was always into beauty. So I had tons of baby dolls, Barbie dolls. I would do their hair. So I was really little, and I would play. My sisters and I would play in my grandmother's things like her makeup and wigs and fur coats. So I was just always into things like that when I was little. Now, I didn't know that I wanted to become a hairstylist. I just thought all that stuff was just fun and cute and, girly. So I think I remember my friend telling me in 8th grade, she was like, you remember when you did my hair and all the girls on the whole bus wanted their hair done by you and they wanted the same style. And I'm like, I thought back and I'm like, what? I do kind of remember that. So I don't know. It's just always been in me. And then I think when I went to college, that's when it clicked. And it was like, you know what, you're good at this and you can make a lot of money. So I think it was, it was later, years and years later, because I started playing around with baby dolls and hair when I was, 3, 4 years old. But it wasn't until college when I realized I should make this my career.
I think that's so interesting. So many of us Black women have this experience with hair and beauty, and honestly, I believe it's a larger conversation about femininity, right? And presentation and the way that we show up. And there's this light bulb moment that we have when we're like, oh, I can become an entrepreneur. I can make money doing this. I was someone who grew up, most of my aunts knew how to do hair. An aunt taught me how to do hair. We didn't really pay to get our hair done, right? So it's something that you inherit, and then you realize, oh, I can turn this into a business. I want to know more about that moment that you had in college. I used to do hair out of my dorm room. I am no international celebrity hairstylist by any means, clearly, right? But, it takes a lot of courage to say, how much are you willing to pay? Or to not even ask, right? But to set a price. What was it like when you were in your dorm room at Central? Yes, she's an HBCU grad. What was it like when you said, okay, I need to make some money?
Well, I'm trying to think how it really happened. Because honestly, I didn't know how to do sew-ins, and that was big then. I mean, it's still, big now, but it was like really big then. And I remember one of the girls was from DC, Melissa, and she wanted her hair sewn in, but she knew how to do it. She said someone taught her how to do it, but she wanted it done, and she showed me and my best friend. She was like, this is how you do it. And so she taught us so we could do her hair. And then from there, I'm like, wait, I like this, because I was doing other things. My cousin had a salon and I would help her at her salon, but I wasn't doing sew-ins. I was like, prepping for relaxers and different things like that, answering the phone, shampooing. And I was always watching her, and she did weave. She did a lot of things too. So I was always watching. But Melissa was like, I'm going to show you how I learned. And she showed us how to do it. So, we started doing her hair, and then I was like, oh, I really like this. So, then we're doing each other, and then more people were coming like, can you do mine? Can you do mine? And I don't know how we knew how to charge. I think we just made up a number. I feel like it was like $40 or something. It was just something, maybe it was enough to get whatever I wanted from the mall, or you know what I mean? Like it was just something like that. But I don't remember how I knew how to charge. But I mean, obviously it was, I don't know if that was low or high because I wasn't experienced.
Right. I feel like $40 in college is still pretty high. I don't know
I think something started out with 25 and then somehow it went to 40. And I don't remember how it jumped to 40, but it did.
Right. So now let's go from the dorm room to your first year in the industry. What was it like, being in the salon and learning more about the business side of beauty? So many of us just have this, a very small transaction. We go from the thought of wanting our hair done to actually going to a beauty supply store or searching for our hair online, and then making that point of contact with, a hairstylist, excuse me. But for you, there's so much that you had to learn. What was it like learning how to show up in business and be this professional so that you could get to where you are today?
Well, it was very busy because by the time I graduated from school, I was doing so many people's hair. So my first year was very busy. I was making a lot of money the first year. So I worked long hours. I remember I wouldn't get home until like 1:00 in the morning. Sometimes 2:00. It was crazy. Yeah, but it was fun. It was so much fun. It was like, this is what I love to do. It was exciting. I still wanted to keep learning, learning more. I felt like I kind of felt like I didn't know anything, but it was like I was just doing things for fun. It was weird because, when you go to hair school, you learn the basics. And then when you get out, that's when it's like you're out there in the real world. So you have to take classes and learn more. But my first year was very, very exciting. I did have to, I think I was always professional though, because my mom had a business growing up and we would work for her. She had a business in the mall. Nice. Yeah. And I would travel with her. And I always tell people she's my inspiration as well, because we would travel with her. We would go to New York on day trips, come back home. She taught me a lot about customer service. So I knew things like that because I've worked in the mall. I worked at different stores, like Old Navy. And, I worked at a lot of different places. And then I also, as a small child, worked for my mom. So I definitely knew how to show up, which was, be on time, great customer service, just having my personality. People love my personality, and I did always know that. So just being me and having an open mind and listening to people, so being a good listener and, not judging people because I knew everyone's personalities are different. And like I said, I worked in the mall with my mom. So I knew, everyone's different. Everyone are going to like different things. Everyone's going to have different personalities, and just, make sure the customer is always right. I knew all that stuff. So I just kind of brought that into my first year, and people love me.
I love that people love you. The relationship we have with our hairstylist is so important. A lot of us don't commit because we're looking for the best prices, or we're moving around, and we need, the hairstyle we want right then and there, or as quickly as we can, book with someone. But, I could only imagine that the relationships that you have with your clients are pretty strong, right? You don't just get to, say, hey, I'm going to style this person, style that person. Like, okay, great. What is it like building trust with your clientele? You work with some very, top tier women. What is it like, having them in your chair and making sure that you not only perform right, but that you're building that relationship with them?
I'm a very honest person, and I think that that can take you very far, because when you're honest, then people can trust you. So they trust the things that I'm saying to them, and I'm not going to just try to take your money or try to get over on you. I'm very, very honest. And I always like to do the right thing. So even if I mess up, no one's perfect. So if I mess up, I want to fix it very fast. So I do know that. And so I guess you can say, I don't know. I do feel like I am a very honest person and very trustworthy. So people they really trust me. I don't tell people's business because, in a salon, that's where people talk and they're telling all their business, and people tell me everything. Even with celebrities, I hear it all, but I will never share anyone from a celebrity to, my clients here. I would never share their business ever. I don't care. So people really trust me.
That's really good to know. There is that hair salon culture. People often talk about barbershop culture. We have very deep and intimate conversations. It's often a safe haven for us, and you are a salon owner. You're not someone who's freelancing and just, doing the work, but you are an entrepreneur, business owner, and you're someone who is world renowned. And I could only imagine, how much people are entrusting you, like you said, when they sit in your seat. That's major. I think that's also something to note as a businesswoman, right? Sometimes people become a little bit too familiar or too comfortable, and they don't realize that can really stagnate their growth on their journey.
Yeah.
Right. So, the Get My Life tour is all about the how through. I'd love to know, what has been a Get My Life moment for you?
I think I've had a lot of Get My Life moments. I worked in a salon here, and I was assisting because, a lot of times you have to work and assist. And I found myself, I was assisting for a long time. And, but as I'm assisting, I'm helping the lead stylist as well. They would come to me like, Nafisah, help me, how do you do this blowout, or how do you do this type of curl, or, so here I am, I'm an assistant, but I'm actually helping like the master stylist and the lead stylist do their clients. And I thought about it, I'm like, wait a minute, why am I still an assistant? And they're out on the floor making tons of money, and I'm showing them what to do, So I think at that very moment, I'm like, I think I was lacking confidence. I didn't think that I was good enough to be on the floor. I just thought, kind of behind the scenes, being an assistant. And I really realized when they were pulling me at all angles, like, hey, Nafisah, can you help me with this? Hey, what do you think I should do with that? Do you think that, And I'm like, wait a minute. Now, let me get myself together here and get on this floor and make real money and stop trying to kind of be behind the scenes and just trying to do a little bit just to, get by. But I think that was definitely a Get My Life moment for me. And it was basically get it together. You're amazing at what you do, and be confident, go out there and do what you do. And the same thing I'm doing, showing other people what to do,
That is so real. So many of us play it small and want to be behind the scenes. Nafisah, I tell you, that is how the Get My Life tour, that is one of the ways that the Get My Life tour came about. I was playing it small. I always tell people, oh, I don't mind being in the background. Like, oh, I'm so much better behind the camera. Oh, it's like, no, I am a producer. And people are like, okay, I hear all of that, but let me tell you something. Then God was like, you know what? Let me tell you something. And that is why it is so important for us to take center stage in our lives. There are people who are counting on us to not show up.
Yeah.
They don't want us to show up. They don't want us to be great, right? Now I sound like DJ Khaled.
It's true.
It really is. Someone is counting on you to not show up because they cannot handle the magnitude of your calling. They know that you may shine brighter, and it's not a matter of competition. It's just the calling on your life. They cannot compete with your calling. I love that you got to a point where you said no. As I look at images of you, I'm like, what? How was she hiding anywhere? What background? Like, where were you hiding? Like, you have this beautiful, toned blonde hair, and you are, I'm not someone who's like all vain, right? But you are beautiful, Nafisah. You know that. The world knows that. We see you, okay? But it's so interesting when we have these conversations and we realize the moments that others had to get through. And that's the beauty of this conversation. It's the beauty of your story. So I'm so grateful that you shared that.
Yeah.
You know, you are an entrepreneur. You are someone who is called on by people in high places, but you're also a mother. And you mentioned that briefly. I said that I can't believe you have a son in college, but I'm curious about how you've been able to balance motherhood and entrepreneurship. I know that's something that is important to you. And I think that people really want to hear more about how you do it all.
It is definitely hard. It's very hard, but I'm a mother first before I'm anything. And and I had my son when I was young, and I knew that I'm making this decision and my child comes before anything. I don't care what it is. So yeah, I have to put him first. I don't care what it is. And there was a time when he was smaller, and we're very, like I was saying before, we're very, very close. So he's very honest with me. He tells me, you know, things that I'm doing that, you know, I might be doing wrong, or, you know, he'll share things with me. And one time he said, like, you're not making time for me. And I think I was so caught up in work because clients and, you know, you're going here, there, and everywhere. And I was like, hold up, like, wait a minute, because I love my child and I put him before everything. And that moment, I felt like, oh my gosh, like I have to change some things up, because I didn't realize, I think time was going and things are moving fast and clients are calling, and, you know, you don't realize you're trying to make money. And, so basically I just cancel everything. It's like my child comes first before anything. So, I do always try to make sure I put him first, before money or anything. And then I do the work. So if I take care of everything with him first, even when he was tiny up until now, he still comes first. So I take care of what I need to do with him, and I have a schedule. So I tell him, you know, what do you need help with, or do you need, you know, what days and what times? And then that way I can schedule things around him. Because I just, like, for me, being a mother, a good mother, is very important. And when I travel, he goes with me. He's been going with me ever since he was little, everywhere, all over the world. We are in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, everywhere. He's always there. Now, I may not post him because I'm a very private person, but he's very low key too. So he's like, Mom, don't take pictures of me, or don't take any videos. And I'm like, okay. Even his Instagram, he has like one picture. He's just really low key. And I'm like, Amir, you've been to all these places. Why don't you show, you know, we're in Puerto Rico, we're in Dubai. He doesn't do all that. I'm like, you're with Floyd Mayweather. We were in Vegas at the Floyd fight at Floyd's mom's house. And he's with Floyd every day. And he's not posting anything. So I'm like, okay, whatever. But yeah, I take him with me a lot of places.
That is to be appreciated. You know, you are raising a quality young man who understands, and this is my interpretation of what you're saying, who understands the power of being present, the power of being low key, and enjoying the moment. I love that.
Yes, he does. And he's not, I love that too. He's such an amazing, amazing person. Like, oh my gosh. So, I'm so proud of him. And yeah, he really is. And he's not the show off. You know, he doesn't like to show off, and he doesn't have to post everything. He's just enjoying the moment. So it's good.
That is to be appreciated. And, you know, I also really think that it's powerful that your mother set the foundation for you as a businesswoman, taking you with her, and now you're doing the same thing with your son. You know, there are these conversations about generational legacy and wealth and business and entrepreneurship that are happening. But when you're able to have the conversation with the actual people who are doing that, it is truly refreshing, because they say that we don't exist that way, that those opportunities, you know, aren't afforded to us, and there's no way to truly attain that. And you are a woman of caliber who's saying like, look, this is the standard that was set generationally, and you've made provision for your son to have those experiences as well. So my hat is off to you, Nafisah, because that's no small feat.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
You are welcome. You know, I can only imagine how many moms are listening, right? So if you have any advice to mommypreneurs, as you know, they're called now, what would it be? It could be about getting started or staying encouraged while doing the work and, you know, trying to find that alignment. But I would love for you to give, you know, listeners something to hold on to as they do the work.
I think as a mother and an entrepreneur, just be very open with your child and explain to them the things that you're doing, because they're watching and they're listening. So, you know, talking to them, asking them questions, keeping up with them every day, putting them first, like I said before, and then taking care of your things. But always, I tell entrepreneurs all the time, have a schedule, because I can't do anything without a schedule. I don't know how anyone can. So have a schedule and then put your child first, and then do everything else after that. And I do tell people, even like I tell my friends, you know, when you're doing things, include your child. Like, I mean, not saying I didn't take my son to work with me. That was one thing I didn't do because I'm raising a male by myself. And I just didn't think that was the place for him to be. I'm working, so he doesn't need to be here listening to adult conversations. He's a child, you know. But exposing them to different things, different experiences, and just talking to them about careers. And I always spoke to my son about the things that I liked to do when I was younger, and this is what I'm doing now. And I didn't know. So, because a lot of times kids, you know, they may not know what they want to do as an adult, but if you're talking to them and you're seeing the things that they are into, the things that they like to do, then that will may possibly help them figuring out their career in the future. But I just say be open with your kids and talk to them and learn about them and take them places with you. Yeah.
That's really good information. Now you are making dreams come true, right? I could only imagine how many dreams of your childhood you've manifested and have actualized. And it excites me, right? But I have to ask, like, as you are doing all of this work, how are you showing up for yourself?
For myself, I think that I have to try to practice self-care. Like I have to put that in. And right now during COVID, I've really realized that I needed more of it. But doing more praying, and I like yoga, so I, you know, do a little yoga in the morning and at night. And just spending time by myself and just thinking and focusing on things. And I don't know, I guess that's how I show up for myself, just practicing self-care.
That's really good. And it is so important. I can only imagine your hands at the end of the week, right? Or being tired of speaking to people because you are in the services industry. You're like, oh my goodness. Just having that time to be quiet and be still.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, I don't even feel like talking to anyone. I've been talking literally all day. And by the time I get home at night, I'm like, and then of course, you know, I'm talking to my son. And then after that, I don't want to talk to anyone. It's like, I don't want to talk. Let me just sit here and like, you know, read some things or just do nothing.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. I tell people all the time, resting is doing something. And it's often a note to self as well. We often feel like we have to give. And sometimes we just need to give to ourselves and be still and be okay with that. You know, if you could do anything along your journey differently, what would it be and why? And if not, share that as well.
Yeah. I think that for me, I would have more confidence. Then when I think back on myself years ago and then now, it's like, oh my gosh, like if I just would have been more confident in knowing like you're good, you're talented. I think it would just be much better. I mean, I know that I'm where I am. The place that I am now, I'm supposed to be here. But when I think back, it's like, gosh, like I should have had more confidence. So I don't know. I do think that my confidence within my skill, not myself. Like I'm very confident in myself, but when it came to doing hair, I was just kind of like, I don't know if it's me being like really picky or a slight perfectionist.
Oh, perfectionism.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
yeah. When it came to my craft, I just felt like I should have had more confidence before.
We never realize how great we are. I am someone who has looked at my highlight reel and I'm like, oh, wow, I was doing that back then. What was I thinking? Like, why didn't I see it? And people were saying it, or, other people wouldn't say anything at all. I guess they were like, I don't want your head to get big. And I'm like, wait, what? I wish you would have said something because I didn't know. Those okie doke moments, right? What are some of how have you been able to grow your confidence and use that as a currency, as a businesswoman?
How have I been able to grow it? I don't know if I can really pinpoint how I've been able to grow it. I think it just came to me. I don't know. It started from the salon when I was assisting. That story I was telling you, that's where it started. Right. And then I realized, okay, I'm helping a lot of people that they said they're a big deal. And if they're saying they're a big deal and I'm helping them, then what am I,
Right, a big deal.
So I think it clicked then, and ever since then, I've definitely gotten much better with confidence in my craft because I know that I'm good, and everyone is good at different things, and I don't know. I do feel like that is when it really clicked, though.
I want to know. I'm curious. How did your business evolve once you became more confident in your craft? You just can't have a Michelle Williams or a Misty Copeland sit in your chair and you be fidgety, right? Quiet, and so consumed with messing up that you just like blow the opportunity, right? But what kind of doors opened as you became more confident?
They did open as I became more confident. And because as I became more confident, I put myself out there more. So before, when I lacked confidence, I probably wasn't really, reaching out to people and, I was just kind of playing it low key. But as I began to be more confident with what I was doing, then I was reaching out to people and, getting more involved with things and networking more and like, yeah, I do this and yeah, I do that, So I think that's how it happened. And it's like I knew that I was good. I did know that, but I don't know if I was being hard on myself because it's like I just want to be better. But I'm still like that now. I don't feel like I know it all. I mean, no one knows it all. But I evolved by definitely networking. I know I got my first job with BET through one of my friends, Maisha. She was working for BET and she got me my first job. And that was great. And so from there, it kind of took off because I kept connections and, made sure I kept in contact with people. And so, yeah, that's kind of how that happened.
That's great. When we're confident, not only does it open doors, but it opens other people's eyes and perspectives and hearts to us. Quite honestly, they're more compelled to connect because they feel like, oh, I see, you want it, right? Yeah. So I always think that is incredible how that happens. And I'm often grateful for the opportunities that just come as a result. I had a conversation with a young woman by the name of Ashley Kirkwood, and we spoke about confidence as a currency. And when you are someone who values being confident, it really pays off. Yeah. And then, I think we've all have experienced people who are overzealous and super confident, who aren't as qualified, but yet You already know where I'm going.
Yeah.
They so many things just make themselves available for them. Like, okay, how are the floodgates opening for you? And you are just not there.
Yeah.
But it's the air that they have.
Yeah.
It's that confidence. And I'm like, okay, look, if Kanye is out here
Right.
acting a fool and it's his level of confidence, it's like, wow, people really believe.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true.
I'm like, I need that kind of confidence.
Right.
Truly.
Sometimes I tell myself, like, gosh, why can't I be that confident? Like, these people just put themselves out there and do whatever. It doesn't even matter if it doesn't make sense, but if they're confident.
Right. It doesn't even matter if it doesn't make sense. It's so, you hit the nail on the head, right? That's how we have to show up for ourselves, especially when we are called, when we know that there is an assignment that we're on. We cheat ourselves and we sell ourselves short when we are not confident. I know I don't have you for too much longer. I want to speak to you forever, Nafisah. We'll have to go live on Instagram or something incredible where people actually see you and hear from you. I would love that.
Yeah. We can totally do that.
Yes. Okay. Now we're on the record and you said yes. So now I have you forever. But how have you defined success, and has your definition changed over the years?
Well, I definitely feel everyone's level of success is different. And I think that whatever your goals are, then, and you completed your goals, whatever they are, then you're successful because you were successful at completing something that you wanted to do. And, my success has definitely changed because I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, I can't wait until I can do a celebrity. Then I'll be successful because that's something that I really, really wanted to do. And okay, I did a celebrity and then I actually did, a ton of them. So I completed a goal, but I don't think my success is ever going to stop because I just keep going and going. I have so many goals and I'll accomplish one and then I'm on to the next thing. And then I add on more things, and then as you do more, you start thinking of more things you want to do. And just, so I do feel like, I've definitely hit a level of success for myself, but I'm nowhere near where I want to be.
Yeah. It is always fascinating to me how we set the bar so high for ourselves, but it's also a moment of great, what's the word that I'm looking for? It's just a moment of greatness, if you will, when you are able to get to the next level. And I'm rooting for you. I know that you're going to get there. I don't even know what your goals are, but I can only imagine all that you have already experienced and the goals that you've already set and reached. And I'm like, okay, what does the next level look like for Nafisah? But I'm going to be, tuned into what it is that you're doing and rooting for you as you continue to show up for yourself and just ascend. I think that's beautiful.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. Okay, so the last thing that I really want to touch base with you is about diversity within your industry. I oftentimes are exhausted by conversations about diversity within any industry because I'm like, why does it need to be a conversation at all? I could only imagine some of the hoops that you've had to jump through as a Black woman within your industry, making your way to the top. And, from conversation, I've learned that diversity is important to you. So I want to make sure that we make room for that in this conversation. What has it been like championing for diversity and then navigating your industry as a Black woman?
To me, it's been a little trying, because I think back. Well, first of all, when I started out, I worked in the all Black salon when I first started out. And then I wanted to learn more. I wanted to be the stylist that I could do anybody, whoever walks in the door, it doesn't matter. I want to learn about all hair. So that I worked in different salons. I've had some good opportunities too. I remember a salon, it was all white, and I was going to be the only Black girl. And I did not know how to do white people's hair. Like, I did not know. I only worked in a Black salon, so we only did certain things. And I remember the owner of actually, he was not the owner. I don't know. It was like a big franchise. And he was, I guess he was maybe as the CEO of the company. And I remember telling him, like, look, I'm just going to be honest with you. And it was a white guy. And I remember feeling nervous. And I'm like, why do I feel nervous? You know, but I told him, I was like, look, I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know anything about this. I've only worked in salons with Black people, and that's all I know. I want to learn more. And hopefully you can give me this opportunity. I don't know what I'm doing. And I didn't have anything. That was the other thing. Like, I didn't even have any haircut and scissors or anything. So this man was like, you know, and Nafisah, he was like, I believe in you. And I was like, really? He was like, yeah. He was like, I'm going to take a chance on you. And so he gave me the job at the salon, and I was the only Black girl. But I was kind of thinking, like, why am I the only Black girl here? You know, like, why aren't there more people? Because I know people wanted to work there because it was a big salon. It was a franchise. So then that kind of bothered me a little bit, because it was like, now, why am I the only Black person here? And now, the other thing was, other people were going to be coming here to get their hair done. And now I'm like working overtime, because now it's like I'm trying to service everyone. Like, you know what I mean? Whereas the other people there did not know about all types of hair. So then I'm thinking, like, why aren't people being like me? And you need to learn about all hair, not just one thing. So I was just kind of thinking, like, okay, what is that about? But then further along, I've had so much experience just working in different salons and different people. And then when I wanted to work in the industry, I remember for New York Fashion Week, it was so hard for me to get in with New York Fashion Week. And I'm looking at all these stylists, but it was nothing but, I never saw any Black stylists, like, ever. And I'm sure there were, but if I'm only seeing, like, it was like tons of white stylists. And I'm like, why don't I see any? Like, it didn't make sense to me. And it was hard I never got a job there. Recently, a few years ago, I just started working New York Fashion Week. And I got a little frustrated because one of the shows had, I want to say, it was maybe, I don't know, it was like a lot of Black models in the show. But all of the hairstylists that were hired were white. And then, of course, it's me, and then maybe one other Black girl. So now, of course, we're in here working overtime, trying to do everyone, because we know how to do our hair. And I just felt like it kind of wasn't fair. And I'm like, I know this is New York Fashion Week. I know there's tons of Black stylists that want to work New York Fashion Week. You know what I mean?
Okay, in New York.
Like, this is crazy. So I just felt like, you know, it's not fair. Like, yes, I am thankful for the opportunities that I do get. I really am. But I see it happen all the time. It's like, why am I the only one in here? Or, you know, a lot of jobs I didn't get. And I'm like, okay. So, you know, I definitely see it. I've definitely experienced it. And I always thought that it's not fair. And how are these people getting chosen? Even though I knew what was going on, but it's just kind of like, what? Like, I don't know. Like, how are they really sitting here choosing the people that they're choosing? And there's so many other people out here that will love these opportunities and that are amazing stylists.
Right. It's so mind blowing how we're often overlooked and all, you know, have to be more qualified.
Yes.
You are overqualified, and taking the initiative to learn about all hair types and textures, you know, and some people just don't bother. I don't know how many salons I've walked past and I'm like, okay, this is so segmented. It makes no sense. But you know, that's what makes you, right? You're a go-getter. You're someone who does not seem to take no for an answer. And you're also blazing the trail for others. You've created a blueprint for launching a successful hair business. You are, you know, sharing freely with other women, you know, and men who may be interested in your industry. You are parenting. You are doing it all, Nafisah. I'm just like, wow. And you're only one person, right? But I'm so grateful that you are, you know, helping others along their journey as well. Mentorship is so important, giving back and speaking freely. You know, it's so interesting because people come CEOs or successful business owners and they don't think that it's valuable having conversations like the ones we're having right now. Like, oh, I got to talk to this person, this vendor, this meeting, X, Y, and Z. And I always am grateful for the time that is lended, you know, to me for the Get My Life tour, because it helps other people show up for themselves and get the information that they needed, you know, and sometimes to questions they didn't realize they had. So, Nafisah, thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. Okay, so we are at the point in our conversation or on tour where it is time for you to drop the mic. You've already shared a number of gems, but this is the opportunity for you to leave it all on the stage. So think about what it is that you want to share. I'll give you a second, and when you are ready, you can just take it from there.
I would like to just let people know to never give up. And people ask me all the time, you know, what can I do? What can I do? And I'm like, you know, if there's something you want to do, just don't give up. And you're going to have so many trying times. I've had like a ton of trying times, hard times, things I didn't understand. You know, I'm questioning, why is this happening to me? I'm crying. And, but I never gave up. And for me, I'll give an example. When I was in New York working, and a lot of things were going on with my living situation, and I had to move back to North Carolina. And I remember crying every night, like, I don't want to move from up here back to North Carolina. I don't want to do this. Crying literally every night, not realizing it was God moving me into a bigger direction. Yeah, I'm moving to North Carolina, but I was able to open up my studio salon. I was actually able to do more traveling by me having my own business. I could really do a lot of freelance work, you know, go to LA, go to Dubai, go to Australia. But I didn't realize it, you know, at that time. But I remember crying every night, like, I do not want to go back to North Carolina. And then one night I sat down, I was like, you know what? Let me just trust what's going on here, what's happening here. Even though I didn't know what was happening, why it was happening to me. Because I felt like New York, that was my dream. Like, that's what I wanted to do. I picked up with my child and we moved up there. So if, you know, it was almost like I felt like it was a smack in the face. Like, I'm here, I'm working. Like, why is this happening to me? And, but I had to trust what was going on in the moment. And I was like, you know what, let me just trust God, and, you know, things are going to turn around. But I didn't understand at the time. So just, you know, trust the process. I guess that's what I should say. Definitely trust the process. There are going to be a lot of ups and downs. Trust the process and never give up. Because I could have easily just said, just forget it, and I'll just, you know, do, I don't know, whatever. But I didn't. I trusted the process. I came to North Carolina. I got myself together. I started back working and opened up my salon, and it just opened up more doors. So I had to keep it moving. You know, I had my breakdowns, but I kept pushing. And so just trust the process and never give up. Those are the two things you just have to do.
You know, I'm going to just break all kinds of traditions because you really reminded me of a number of things. You just said you had breakdowns, but you got back up and you kept it pushing. Like, and I'm paraphrasing, right? You had breakdowns, but you kept pushing. I literally just thought of what it's like to be on all fours, right? And not just down and out, but in surrender to the Most High. And being pushed, right, by Spirit to keep going. Oh, my goodness. I don't know how many of us have been there before. Then I also heard you say, go home. I spoke about this not too long ago about coming back to the Bay Area and having this experience where I felt like I needed to be here. And then the pandemic, once again, pushing me back to the West Coast. I love New York, been there 5 years. I've always dreamt of being in Harlem and being a writer. And God said yes. And he also said, go home. And I really wanted to highlight you saying what you said, because this pandemic has, really pushed people's thinking and has stretched people's, mindset about things. But I think a number of us have experienced pandemics before, right? Black people in America have, had pandemic after pandemic after pandemic. And I think each of us could probably think about a pandemic moment in our lives. And I'm so glad that you shared, that moment where God said, go back to North Carolina. Yeah. I think about the prayer of Jabez and, expanding our territory. I don't want to say we never. It's hard to come to terms with believing even bigger when we've had our minds set on something and our prayers answered. Yeah. And the fact that you were able to go back home, have your territory expanded, and be where you are, that is so inspiring to me, Nafisah. Like, it truly is. You are welcome. I'm in awe. Oh my, you really dropped the mic. I wasn't supposed to say anything, but you know how when you go to like a church function and think like that little sexual chakra moment, like that girl was good. That girl was good. Like, I just had to say something else. I'm like, wow, you said so much. Like, you said a lot, but that really resonates with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Nafisah, why are you going to go ahead and do that? Now people are expecting another hour of conversation. I'm only joking. You're like, girl, I got a business
you're fine.
But that was so good. You are welcome. I want to thank you again for your time and for showing up the way that you have, right? We think about hair and beauty as these fluffy things. It's just, and I'm like, no. How we show up is so important, right? From our hair to the way we look and the way we speak, all these things matter. So I'm glad I was able to have this conversation with you, because you are all of these things, and the way you show up is a representation of us all. So thank you for your time. Thank you for the way that you do business. And thank you for coming on tour.
And thank you so much for having me and allowing me to, share my story. And because I do different interviews and talk to different people, but sometimes I'm not able to say a lot. It may be just a few questions, but I love like our conversation, and I was able to share more. And thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You are welcome. You are so welcome. That warms my heart. My goodness. I look forward to the next stop on the Get My Life tour. I am so excited about approaching, year 2 of the Get My Life tour. And Nafisah, you showing up the way you did really matters.
Oh, thank you.
It truly does. You are welcome. I hope that everyone tuned in has taken what it is that you need so that you can continue to journey, go confidently and boldly in pursuit of what it is that your heart desires. This has been incredible, and I am so grateful for the opportunity to take center stage with you. And I look forward to seeing you on the next stop of the Get My Life tour. Nafisah, tell people how they can stay connected with you.
Yes. Well, all social media, I'm Nafisah Carter. So Instagram, Facebook, everything is Nafisah Carter. And that's about it.
All right, perfect. And if you want to stay connected with the Get My Life Tour, be sure to follow the Get My Life Tour on all social platforms. Go to getmylifetour.com and register for our newsletter. And of course, you can connect with me at Lydia T. Blanco on all social platforms and at lydiatblanco.com. Be sure to subscribe, like, download, and leave a review. I'd love to know your thoughts. It has been real, and I will see you on the next stop of the Get My Life Tour.
Okay.
Peace.